Good morning, everybody. My name is Veronica. I'm originally from Kerry, but I have now lived in Galway 30-odd years. Hence, they don't know whether I'm Kerry or Galway when I go home. The story I'm about to tell you, the testimony I'm about to give you, my friend, as John said, Father Rob McNamara, when I told him, he said, Veronica, dear, I don't want to upset you, but you're having hallucinations along with everything else. And I said, Father, I will prove you wrong. So this is the story I have to talk about. I suppose from the moment I was born to even to this today, I've had many struggles in my life, but my faith and my belief in God always seemed to keep me going. But there was a time that I did give up my religion. I was angry. The more I prayed, the harder my life got. Until a while, one day, a church that the priest knew me in, I used to do adoration there every day. And he said, I haven't seen you for a long time. And I said, Father, given up, have enough, given up. And he asked me why, and I said, the harder I pray, the harder I fall. And he said, have you ever heard, he said, Veronica, of the victim's soul? And I said, no. He said, sometimes God asks us to carry a cross heavier for the conversion of others. And I sat and thought about it, and I went back into the adoration chapel, and in front of me there was a little red book with the Divine Mercy chaplet, and it said, take me home. And so I did. It was the saving grace for me to bring me back to where I was today. On August the 21st, 2017, I went into a diabetic coma in my home. I was 30 hours on my own. I'm a single woman. Not that I didn't have a few engagement rings attached to me, but I still am single. But I live on my own, and I went into a diabetic coma. I was 30 hours on my own in the house. But this priest that I do volunteer work for had been looking for me. And he kept on and on and on and on, and eventually he gained access to my home. And he found me in a coma. I was rushed into the hospital by ambulance. Well, actually 2 ambulances came out because the first wasn't good enough to keep me alive. And I was rushed in to the hospital. Death was imminent. There was no way I was going to survive. And first I was put into the resuscitation. My heart had been damaged. And then I was put into ICU. My kidneys had failed. My blood was 5% from death. I had problems of every kind. I had gangrene on my foot and possible brain damage. And the doctor spoke to the priest and said, it's touch and go. Death is there and just waiting for her. I got very agitated in the coma, so they induced a deeper coma into my life to put me under, to try and calm my body. And it was then, in that coma, I had understood from life that you were asleep. Nothing happened. Your body was healing. Nothing happened. Well, it did happen to me. I was aware that there was somebody by my side at all times. And it wasn't the priest friend that had found me, but another priest that stood next to me in the coma at all times. He never left my side. And I could see myself with people around my bed. These were people I prayed with. There are 6 sisters in Galway, and they're very much into prayer, but they're also very good friends of mine. And I saw the 6 of them at the side of my bed. And out of nowhere came the host, the adoration host that I had sat in front of so many times. And I could see it, and I could feel it, and I could see it coming into me in the bed. And then I was shown an image of one of these sisters' husbands who was going to be ill. I had not moved out of the bed. Nobody was visiting me. I was still in a very severe coma. Excuse me, I'm a bit dry. Is there water there? Okay, thank you. Now, at the time, I was dead. I mean, there's no other way of describing who I was. And I remember not being frightened, not afraid of death, not afraid of anything. And that was the problem. But I got into a situation where the most terrible thirst, I was thirsting. And I remember calling out in the coma, please give me a drink, please give me a drink, please give me a drink. And nobody was there. But eventually, this awful-looking human being came into the picture and offered me water. And a prayer that I had known by heart was, "O blood and water, which gush forth from the heart of Jesus, I trust in you." And that prayer would not come out of my mouth. I tried everything. I knew I was being offered water, but I knew something wasn't right. It was like I was being offered a chance to live as long as I gave away the one thing I loved, which was the divine mercy. And this prayer would not come and would not come. And eventually I just rejected the entire thing and said, go away from me. And I remember so well, it was like somebody was gently massaging my head, telling me, you did right. You didn't take the bribe that was given to you right now. Even though I knew I was dying. I knew in that bed, even I was in a coma, I was dying, and there was no way home for me. But as time went on, another very good, prayerful lady, and a very good lady. A lady has 2 things that she loves in her life: Jesus and her family. And a very good lady to charity. And Jacinta is her name. And Jacinta, again, was inside right next to me in ICU. Now remember, there was no visitors allowed outside the priest. There was nobody allowed into me. And she kept telling me, Veronica, look at this book. I'm after getting a new book. You're going to be okay. This is the book. Look at it. It's the prayers of the holy souls. Please remember this book. And again, Jacinta went away. And I was getting iller by the time, and a lot of other experiences, because we're time restricted. I can't tell you everything about my testimony, but I'm giving you the things that were very important at the time. Now, I do remember very, very well that in the process of my coma, I remember reaching out, looking for this Divine Mercy Rosary that I bring it everywhere. I was looking for it. It wasn't there. There was nothing there. And I could remember saying to myself in the coma, you're not believing. This is a prayer that you said. Every single morning I got up and I prayed for the priests of the diocese, the priests of the world, the fallen priests, and the new recruits. Midday, people that would come and ask me for prayer, I would do the Divine Mercy for them. And in the evening, whatever was on the chaplet, I did that the 3rd time in the day. And I could hear, it was as if this priest was telling me, do you believe anymore? Reach out, he's there for you. You're the one that believes in this divine mercy. Now show yourself to him. And so I did. And then one day, I did come out of the coma, but I was very ill. As I explained to you, that I had gangrene, my kidneys weren't working. There was going to be possible brain damage, but I changed that very fast when I told them I was alive, not dead. And there was a lot of other medical problems. I was a long way from going home. And my priest friend came in and he said, I'm so happy. And I said, get me my rosary beads. I said, do you mind talking soft to me? Just get me my Divine Mercy rosary beads and sit with me. I want to tell you what I've been through. Now, a lot of the stuff I've kept from you because it's very private. It was association with people. But one thing I won't keep from you, the one thing that broke my heart in that coma was, as I said, I had great love for adoration. He showed me the adoration chapel that I used to attend. And there was the most beautiful stained glass window, which still exists. And he showed me people that I looked up to as being very, very holy and pious. And I used to say to him, I could never be like that, Lord. I'm a sinner, but I'll try anyway. He showed me them coming out after they spending an hour with him. And then gossiping. Gossiping about priests. Gossiping about stuff that should never be spoken of. And his words were very simple. You come to spend time with me. Take that mercy with you. Do not gossip. Do not be part of gossip. Don't take down priests. Don't take down nuns. That piece was so heartbreaking to me that I decided there and then that I would have to say something about this. And I remember telling the priest about the adoration and the host and the six sisters and Jacinta and the gossip. And again he said to me, Veronica, hallucinations, drugs, you only have to come out of it. I said, I'm not getting out of this ICU bed unless you go and you ring up these people and ask them where they were on this day. And the following day he came back to me very sheepish and he said, you know, Veronica, you were there all right. He said they were in the adoration chapel praying for you at that time. Jacinta had received a book from the Holy Souls that morning in the post. And I described two priests praying for me at a statue. And he said, yes, those two priests did pray at that statue. God had shown me that he loved me no matter what way I thought of myself, because I spend the time investing in the divine mercy for others. Now, the piece that is really the real miracle of my time was my kidneys came back and my gangrene wasn't good. And thanks be to God, well, my brain was okay. There'll be a question mark about that in a few people, but anyway. I had my health come back, my bloods were okay, my diabetes was under control, but my heart was the problem. And so one day, they had kept it from me, that the damage was so bad in my heart. So one day they arrived at the bed and they said, Veronica, you know, we have to bring you down to the heart specialist and we have to repair your heart. And I thought, Mother of St. Anthony, when did this come out of and where? Because they hadn't mentioned my heart up to this. They knew it, but I didn't know it. And I looked up at the clock in the ward and it was 10 to 3 in the day and I thought, now, come here. I'll wait until 3 o'clock. I'm not going anywhere until 3 o'clock. So I did arrive down into the unit and the heart specialist met me and he had my scans up and he explained that he'd have to repair the heart because I'd had a heart attack in the house at home and that there was damage to my heart. And I stopped and I looked at him and I said, don't worry, doctor, it'll be all right. And I looked up, and 3 o'clock hit, and I said, now, Divine Mercy, I said, you owe me. You owe me big time. I said, I prayed for the priests, I prayed for the sinners, I prayed for the pagans, I prayed for everybody. I said, I'm in trouble now. And I said, I want you, I said, now, the minute they open me, I want you to send Our Lady's heart down on mine, and I want you to repair the damage that's done. And I said, the one word I always say every day, oh, blood and water. And I said, it's in your hands now, Lord. And like something that would never, I suppose you could never experience, the most beautiful breeze I have ever in my life experienced was circulating all around my heart. This breeze, circulating and circulating and circulating. And I knew before he even looked at me that the Divine Mercy had listened. I think he was afraid of me, but he listened anyway. And this beautiful breeze, it was the most gentlest breeze I've ever in my life experienced. And it was like somebody was massaging my heart. And I could see the doctor looking at the scans, and he'd look down at me, and he'd look at the scans, and I smiled away, and I thought, oh, off with you now. And he closed me up, and he went out, and my priest friend was outside, and he said, Father, he said, it's something we don't say very often in this hospital, but it is a miracle. Not one repair on that woman's heart.
You have 10 minutes left.
Yeah. And finally, I spoke about the gossip of priests and nuns. We need to stop. The Divine Mercy is, I am mercy. We as a society have to stop blaming the religious orders and the priests. We as a society abandoned our own. We as a society need to move on. Pope Francis has asked us to be, not just to be merciful, but to be mercy in ourselves. And only by believing that we as a society can reach out and forgive all the past, all that has happened to us in our own lives, and move on, then we are not being faithful to the Divine Mercy. And I meant to say thank you to Dawn, and thank you to all for listening to me. God bless you.